So I have done 18 plus cloud and DevOps certifications, and I'm not talking about the course completion certification. I'm talking about the actual certification that you get from a recognized institute by clearing or by passing an exam based on certain percentage, let's say 75%, 80% marks that you need to obtain for. So I have done 18 of those, and some of those I have done multiple times. And in this video I'm going to share my personal experience of which all certificates or which all certification has helped me get a job or my resume shortlisted, and which certification has minimum to no impact in my career, so that you would know which certification you need to target for if you are a beginner, right? There is a saying that, I mean, this saying is nothing but a fact as well, that certification doesn't help you get a job, which is true. But there is another fact which state that certification does help you get your resume shortlisted, or at least your resume will get some weightage because you have certain certifications that is relevant to the job that you are applying. So again, certification doesn't help you get the job, but it does help you with the resume shortlisting. So if you are new here, my name is Piyush, and Cloud and DevOps end-to-end tutorial is what I do on my channel. But recently, people have asking me a lot of questions related to career guidance, related to doubts that they have, especially the beginners. So I thought of covering these into small videos, and this is one of those videos where I'll be sharing some of my um, experiences, some of my frequently asked questions that have been asked for past few months, so that you would get a clear understanding of what you need to do next. Okay, so let me just share my screen, and I promise I will keep this video as short as possible. So as I was mentioning, here are all the certification badges that I've got for the past few years, and few of them I have done twice. For example, CKA certification, like Kubernetes administrators, this certification I have done twice because I was writing a book, which you can see over here, and I needed to make sure that my certification exam curriculum in the book is as per the latest curriculum. So I gave it twice. And there were some other certification which I renewed, such as Azure Administrator, Microsoft Azure DevOps Engineer. Yeah, I think those two I have renewed, and Solutions Architect as well. And like, there is one more fact that I wanted to share. Like, you don't need these many certifications to get a job, even at a FANG company. Like, why did I do it? I did it because these all certifications were sponsored by my employer. So I thought, why don't I just get it done? I'll end up learning something. I'll end up learning some new skills, plus I will get a certification badge as well. So there's nothing to lose. So that's why I did all those. But you don't have to go through all of these. That is why I'm doing this video, so that you can target the top certifications that will help you get the job. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Okay, or maybe I'll start with how I started my certification journey. Okay, so the first certification that I did in my entire career was AWS Solution Architect Associate. So this I did in 2017, and I think before that as well, 2016, but I failed this certification three times, because this was my first cloud certification. Before that, I didn't know anything about cloud at all. I never worked with AWS before. So, and it is one of the hardest certification if you are a beginner, right? So, and this certification is one of the oldest. This certification is the OG of the certification. So, I'm going to put that in the supreme tier, right? Even today, if you are a beginner, I would suggest start with AWS Cloud Practitioner. This one would be a little overwhelming for you if you are a beginner. But if you have decent, like if you have some working experience with AWS, or if you know cloud concepts, if you know some AWS services, then you can go ahead with this one. But still, this is one of the OGs of certification, and this is one of my, like, it was my first cloud certification. Okay, then then the next one I did was Azure Administrator. Again, this one also I'll put that in the supreme tier, because this is also one of the amazing certification if you are looking for Azure. related certifications. So this is one of those. It's not as effective as AWS Solution Architect because it has been there for a long time, and they have updated the certification curriculum to a greater extent. Azure Administrator is fairly new. Like I'm not saying it's new, but it's fairly new than this. I did that somewhere in 2018 or 17, I believe. Yeah, maybe in 18. And this I was able to do it after attending a 2-day workshop at my office. So there was a 2-day workshop by a Microsoft professional, Microsoft trainer, and like it was like 9-hour workshop each day. And then I did some hands on. I did some practice, a lot of practice actually, and then I was able to clear the certification. But this was done in first attempt. And solution architect, it was hardest till here at least, right? So after that, there was two, and then once I did that, then I think I did CKA certification. I did in 2000, again around the same time, 2018 for the first time. And then the I renewed it in 2024, 25, like maybe last year, last year. This is when I was just finalizing my book and my CKA series as well, like the playlist that I have on my channel for this particular exam. I wanted to make sure that both of these are up to date with the exam curriculum. And this is again the OGs of certification. Why? Because there are some Kubernetes certification, at least CKA, CKAD, CKS. These three certifications need complete hands-on, and it will not have the multiple choice questions like in other exams, right? It is a performance based exam, and you will be given around 2 hours of time and 16 tasks to be completed on the exam sandbox. So you have to log into the sandbox and complete the task, and those tasks are not simple tasks. Plus 2 hours is not enough for those 16 tasks because some of them are really time consuming tasks, I would say. Even if you know end to end Kubernetes, even if you have worked on Kubernetes before, even then it will be hard because of the time constraint. So you need a lot of practice. So there is an entire playlist on my channel, CK certification, and it has 55 full length videos. So yes, it has vast curriculum, but I have covered everything. And if you have this certification, CK, you don't need to do any other Kubernetes certification. So I would highly recommend either AWS Solution Architect or Azure Administrator, like either of those, plus a CKA certification. Like this will like help you shine your profile among all other thousands of candidates, even if you are a fresher. Yes. The next one that I did was, I believe it was HashiCorp Terraform 2018 or 19, around somewhere around that time. It was not that popular at that time. It's been like 7 years or so, 7, 8 years. So, but nowadays it's very popular. I'm gonna put that into 8 year. Why? Because most of the, I believe, 90% of the companies are using Terraform as their, if not 90%, I would say out of those companies that are using infrastructure as a code, I would say out of those companies 80% are using Terraform as their choice of infrastructure as a code provider. And it works well with all the clouds irrespective of the cloud that you are working with, right? So again, for this as well, I have two entire playlist, one AWS specific, one Azure specific. So feel free to check that out if you are interested in this. And the playlist doesn't cover just the certification, is it covers a lot more than that, real time projects, mini projects, and so on. So you can check it out. The next one that I did was Azure Fundamentals. Okay. So if you are a beginner, if you are someone who have never worked with cloud and want to learn Azure, then I would suggest going ahead with this certification. I didn't have to prepare anything for that because I already had Azure Administrator certification, and it covers almost everything that is there in Azure Fundamentals. Azure Administrator is an associate level certification. That means there is that's why there are 2 stars. Azure Fundamental is the fundamental certification. It has 1 star. It is specifically for beginners. Again, for this as well, I have an entire playlist in my channel. If you want to cram, if you want the exam cram, then there is a 4 hour or 2.5 hour, I'm not really sure. There is a long video on my channel that covers everything about it. Most of these certification I have covered in my channel. So yeah, that's why I'm just sharing that as a quick note. The next one that I did was Microsoft, I believe it was this DevOps Engineer AZ400. Again, it did not help me much in the job because I was already working at that time as a Azure DevOps engineer, but it did help a lot in learning the Azure DevOps concepts and all the related parts of it. And again, I have an entire playlist of Azure DevOps. It's not specific to certification, but it's specific to Azure DevOps. It has 16 full length videos, but like I learned during the preparation of this certification, and that is why I was able to deliver in form of a playlist, so I would put that in tier A. Then the next certification that I did was sysops. This is again, I mean, if you are in operations, um, if you are working with as an SRE or as a platform engineer, this is really helpful. And again, it is not an easy one, so I'm just gonna put it over here. Okay. Then the next one I did was sysops is done. Okay. The next one was that I did was this one, Azure Solution Architect. It was a really hard one. It was not a hard certification if you have worked with Azure before, but at that time it was divided into two different certification. There was AZ303 and AZ304. After completing both the certification exam, which was 3 hour each, then only you get this certification. Now they have combined it into a single certification. But yeah, it took me a lot of efforts in getting this certification, and it did not help me much because like, even though I got this certification, I did not have, and it's an expert level certification, by the way, but it did not help me much because at that time my experience was around 5 to 7 years, I would say, and it's not enough experience to be a certificate, to be a solution architect, especially in big companies, right? So I would put that over here. The next one that I did was the next one was Azure Data Fundamentals. Yes, this one. Again, it was not much helpful for me because it's specifically for data engineers. Like if you are working in data domain, data engineering, then it's really helpful. It's an fundamental level exam, DP 900, I believe that's what it's called. But for a DevOps engineer, for a cloud engineer, it's not much helpful. So I'm gonna put that over here just because it's not much helpful for a DevOps or cloud engineer. But if you are someone from a data engineering background, I have an entire video on my channel. It's a 1.5 hour video, which is more than enough to clear this certification in just 1 week or so. Okay. Or maybe just over the weekend. The next one that I did was Associate Cloud Engineer, which is Google Cloud Associate Cloud Engineer. This one I did after I joined Google. So again, it did not have much impact on my career because after that I did not make the job switch, or even I did not give the interview. But it was a good experience for me because earlier, like I started with AWS. Okay, then I moved to Azure, and then I got the job as an Azure cloud engineer, and then I worked as a Azure DevOps engineer, DevOps consultant, and then DevOps tech lead. And then after joining Google, I didn't have any experience with GCP. So this was what my first GCP certification, and at that time I was just going through some initial trainings of Google Cloud, right? So it was good, it was helpful, but it did not help me. But if, like, it is equivalent to, I would say, Azure administrator and Azure solution architect, but because it didn't have much demand in the market, that's why I'm gonna put that in A tier over here, right? So let me just do that. The next one was after that I did PCA, which is Professional Cloud Architect by Google Cloud. This is again a supreme tier certification because in this you will get case studies. You have around 4 to 5 case studies, and based on that there will be multiple questions. So you need to read a case study of a company, their business requirement, technical requirements, and based on that you need to suggest some solution of the questions that have been asked. And there could be like multiple answers that you feel it is right, but you need to select the most appropriate one. So again, it's a good one. If you are planning for Google Cloud related certification, then PCA is something I would suggest over associate cloud engineer, but not if you are a beginner. Okay, so there is just a caveat to it. Then the next one I did was professional. Yeah, I did GCP Cloud DevOps Engineer, right? GCP Cloud DevOps Engineer. Oh, just give me a second. I did GCP Cloud DevOps Engineer, and when I did that, it was in beta. That means the exam was not released. It was like a preview, and during the preview, Google Cloud releases their exam, which is a full length. It was a 4 hour exam, and it had a lot of questions. My mind was about to blast um, at the end of the exam, but I was able to clear it. So it was a good experience for me. It was my first beta exam for Google Cloud. It was a good experience. It was not just about Google Cloud DevOps services, but DevOps concept, DevOps tools, terminologies, process methodologies in general. So it's a good exam, but it did not like it does not have a lot of impact. So that's why, again, this is my personal opinion. Don't quote me on that. The next one I did was AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional. This was also equivalent to this Google Certified DevOps Engineer and the same difficulty level. This is also a professional level exam. So I'm going to put it over here. The next one that I did was, and these all were recents, like, oh, there was one I missed over here, Jenkins Certified Engineer in 2020. This one I did. Why I did that, you probably wouldn't have heard of it, right? It was when CloudBees took over the Jenkins community and they started building it. So they created two exams, I believe, Jenkins Certified Engineer, and then there was a CloudBees Certified Engineer. So I attended one of their workshop, a 2-day workshop, and during that I got this certification voucher. So that's why I did it. So I don't recommend going ahead with this. So I'm gonna put that in the D tier. Right. Then all these certifications, like KCNA, I did that this year. CKAD, if you are working with Kubernetes, and if you already have CKA, and if still you want to go ahead with another Kubernetes certification, then I would recommend. But if I had to choose between one, CKA or CKAD, then I would go with CKA any day, right? So I'm just gonna put it over here. Then KCNA, Cloud Kubernetes and Cloud Native Associate. This is like an fundamental level certification of CKA. So if you have already done CKA, this would be a piece of cake. It's a theory based. It's not an exam. Like, it's not a performance based, and it's basically around cloud native tools and technologies, open source tool that is being managed by CNCF community, right? So I'm gonna put that in tier C. Then we have Cloud Native Security Associate. This is associate level certification, a fundamental certification for CKS. So like this one goes before CKS. So I'm gonna put that again in tier C. And then this is the hardest certification that I have come across in my life. Like, I am still preparing for it. I have given the exam, but what I have heard and what I have gone through, this is one of the hardest certification. And again, this is performance based, just like CKA and CKAD. But if you have done it, you have nailed the Kubernetes security, and I would highly recommend this. If you can do it, definitely do it. CKA is the prerequisite for that. I believe CKA or CKAD, you should have either of those certification. But yeah, before those, either of those, you cannot go ahead with this. But I'm gonna put that in supreme tier. Okay, so this is my final list of certification. This is how I would rank. So if in 2026 I were to suggest you, if you were looking to get certified, I would say go ahead with CKA. That's the first certification. Go ahead with CKA without any doubt. If you are a beginner, if you're an absolute beginner to IT and you have never really even heard about cloud, Then go ahead with one fundamental certification of cloud, right? So either Azure, where it is either Azure Fundamental, which is AZ 900 over here, or GCP ACE, or AWS Cloud Practitioner, right? I haven't added it over here because I never really gave the certification. So either of those fundamental certification plus CKA, plus if you have some experience working with DevOps, or if you have working with multi-cloud, or if you are looking into like DevOps realm, then Terraform Associate. So I would suggest these three certification. And if you are an experienced professional and want to elevate your professional like resume and portfolio, then I would suggest go with CK plus CKS, or you should also have solution architect certification, right? So based on that and based of what I have told you, I think you understood. So there are different recommendation for a beginner, different recommendation for a professional. Let's say if you are someone who have a little experience with the cloud, so go ahead with solution architect plus CKA plus Terraform, these three certification. If you are absolute beginner, then go ahead with Azure Fundamental, or AWS Cloud Practitioner, or GCP Cloud Digital Leader. These Either of these three certification plus CKA you can plan later on in your career. And if you are an experienced professional, I would say go ahead with CKA plus CKS, plus either of the professional certification in cloud, like Azure Solution Architect, or DevOps Professional, or even AWS Professional Solution Architect. So this is my recommendation as of 2026, and I'm sure it will be helpful. I know I said I will try to keep the video short, but I believe we ran over 22 minutes or so, and this video has no editing, so this will be uploaded as is. So it will be like 22 minutes plus the things that I'm talking right now. So again, thank you so much. I'm not gonna waste more time of you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. If you like this video, give your comment and let me know which certification have you done and has helped you, and what are you planning next. So thank you so much. Have a good day. Happy learning.